Welcome to part 3, Refuel to Recover Post-Workout Nutrition Basics. So today in part 3, we'll be talking about post-workout fueling. So first we'll discuss how nutrition can aid in recovery after a workout. And then after that, we'll round out some sports nutrition with talking about supplements and if they're needed, and how to stay hydrated during and after exercise. So really important to consider after your workout is getting in enough protein and carbohydrates. Both are important to refuel with. So carbohydrates are going to help replenish those energy stores we just used. Like we've been talking about, carbohydrates are our body's preferred source of fuel. So a lot of the carbs that we had were used up. So we want to replenish those energy stores. And then protein is important for that repair and building. So after you've broken down those muscles working out, protein is going to help build them back up even stronger. This is also a great time to include complex carbohydrates like oats or whole grains, and high-quality protein like eggs, Greek yogurt, fish and meat, tofu. Since our workout is done, we don't have to worry about the digestion of certain nutrients, so these foods are going to take longer to digest, and they will also give you more sustained energy throughout the rest of your day. Keeping in mind as well that there's no perfect amount to eat after a workout. If you're not super hungry, could just be a small snack. If you're really hungry, could be a full meal. Just listening to your body, bringing in that intuitive eating aspect of this to gentle nutrition. So a note on timing, your body is going to absorb nutrients more effectively right after your workout than a couple hours later and up to an hour later, but your body will still absorb whatever you eat even hours later. So if you really just can't eat right after, it's okay to push it off a little bit as long as you're eating something eventually. You may need to wait a little longer, especially if you're someone who isn't ready to eat right after a hard workout. So keep in mind, just don't stress about including fiber and fats after a workout as well. Again, while these are super important, they're not essential right after you work out. But they are still essential nutrients, so including them in meals and snacks later on can help support satisfaction, hormone health, and overall recovery. So here's a few examples of some post-workout snacks. So thinking about pairing carbs and protein. So this could be a banana or a fruit with peanut butter. Smoothie form is also great. Chocolate milk has a great ratio of carbs and protein, or a protein shake. Thinking of deli slices and bread or crackers, nut butter in a jelly sandwich, cottage cheese and crackers or fruit, yogurt with granola and fruit is a great option, eggs and bagel, hummus and pretzels or carrots. And then also keeping in mind that a full meal is an option too, and fitting in all of the different macro and micronutrients that you can is also a great option. So now that we've touched on kind of the overview of gentle nutrition, your macronutrients, fiber, fats, protein, carbs, I want to talk about a couple different supplements. So my first important note on supplements is that they are not regulated by the FDA. And there are many, many gimmicks on the market. So look for third-party testing on your supplement label by the NSF and USP. And this third-party testing and verification will ensure that your supplements actually contain the ingredients that are listed on the label in the amounts it says they are listed, and are free from any harmful contaminants. So this testing is just verifying that your supplements are the real deal and say and have what they say they have. So supplements that can be helpful, a general multivitamin or a mineral, especially if your diet is pretty consistent and lacks variety, can be a great option. And then if you are vegetarian or vegan, vitamin B12 and D may also be good supplements to consider. And I also wanted to talk about creatine today. So creatine is actually a compound that is naturally found in your body or through food that supplies energy to your muscles. So it brings the energy to your muscles. And there is a lot of research on this supplement. It's actually one of the most well-researched supplements. And there is evidence that it may increase lean muscle mass over time and support athletic performance. The important thing to remember is that your activity is actually the most important factor when it comes to this. So if you're just taking a bunch of creatine and not doing any sort of activity that's going to boost lean muscle mass, you're not going to see really any results with that. Important to keep in mind, however, that you should always consult a provider before taking any supplement, also creatine, to ensure that it is a safe option for you. So shifting over to hydration, just like nutrition, it's important to stay hydrated as well. So your needs of hydration will vary depending on factors such as the weather, humidity, activity level, and individual needs. And keeping in mind that staying hydrated is going to matter whether or not you're working out. Your body is going to need water every day for just basic functioning. Mayo Clinic recommends that men drink roughly 15.5 cups of water per day and women drink 11.5 cups of water per day. And this can vary too, depending on height, body weight, all different sorts of factors, and also the conditions I mentioned earlier. It might seem like a lot, but also remembering that this includes all fluids: water, milk, juice, tea, coffee, whatever you drink, and the water found in your food. So foods like watermelon are going to have a lot of water in them, and that's actually going to play into your hydration intake as well. So keep in mind that it's not necessary to overconsume water. This can actually lead, in extreme cases, to water intoxication, where the electrolytes in your blood become diluted. So just consume water in a way that feels natural to you, drinking when you're thirsty. And if you're a very salty sweater, you exercise in hot or humid weather or for long periods, potentially consider electrolytes like Liquid IV or Gatorade to help meet your hydration needs. So here is a strategy to try to get a bit more hydration throughout your day. So looking at your water bottle, thinking of how many cups can fill your water bottle, and setting a goal to finish 1 to 3 bottles of water per day. So for example, if your water bottle holds 24 ounces, drinking 2 to 3 of those would get you pretty close to your goal. Another way to do this is by anchoring. So every time you get up and go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, tying the habit of drinking water to the habit you already do. So you know you're going to brush your teeth every day, so having water there and linking those habits or anchoring them is also a great strategy. So in summary of part 3, we talked about how we can prioritize protein and carbs after a workout, be selective about which supplements we're going to take, including creatine, and making sure that they're verified by different organizations, and also some tips and tricks to stay hydrated. So in the last part of this series, we'll be talking about tuning into your body's signals and how we can look for signs of underfueling.